Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the pre-show of the Intrepid radio program. And we'll get started in about 4.5 minutes. And this is just the little live preamble, the backstage, the studio shot without anything really going on yet. So, yeah, the show starts at 4 minutes and 25 after on the radio station. So, little informal prelude, build-up, preamble. So, hey, Roger Rabbit, good to see you. Leslie Holker, glad to see you over there in the chat room. Always happy to see you. Master Finn. I feel like there should be an echo with that and a fanfare. And Matthew Sainsbury from Barbados. Man, good to see you. Barbie D, nice to see you over there as well in the chat room. Grumpy Stack from down there. Ding 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 ding. Bum 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 bum. Down 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 ding 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 ding. Yeah. Little swampland, Louisiana. Grumpy Stack. Hey, Donna Renee Ivy, good to see you from Pensacola, Florida. How's the weather down there? It's cold here. We had 70 degrees and humid. Leslie Holker, you're from up here. You know what it's like. It's kind of funny. As soon as it goes from cold to warm, it went from like in the 30s and 40s last week to warm on Saturday. 72 degrees it got here, but it was immediately humid. So, hey, Ellie, no yelling when there's radio. Right? Remember that? Acknowledge me. Thank you. The small child. Hey, Steve Clark. Good to see you over there in the chat room. Brianna. This is Grumpy Stack. Oh, hey, Brianna. Brianna. Off you down south, it'd be Brianna. No, I can't do the formal southern. The Brianna. Come and sit on my porch and have a mint julep. That's what Doug Stack sounds like, Grumpy Stack, in real life. So, Romeldian, good to see you. All right, guys, got about a minute and a half, and we go live on the radio station, which is audio only. No video over there. So... Mom, now that's in my head. Hey, Paige. Good to see you. Glad you're here. How is everybody tonight? Hope you're all doing well. Doing okay over here. I was tired earlier. I just wanted to go to sleep. Hey, Ro. We're not on air yet. We're building up, though.
Good for you.
We got about 30 seconds, and we'll be live on air. So you better scram.
I'm going to go take a shower.
All right, you go take a shower. Say hi quick.
Hi.
And then get out of here. Because we got to do our thing. That was Ellie. They're learning. We got 9 seconds, folks. Okay, we're going to go dark. Be right back.
Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAlanRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, AlanRoberts.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad so he can take me to Disneyland.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Intrepid radio program. I am your host, Scotty Roberts. As usual, no fill-in hosts. We should do that someday. I should take a vacation and have a fill-in host. Well, speaking of which, tomorrow in the next 2 or 3 days, I'm going to be out of town, but there will be a show, and I will be hosting it from the location where I will be. And I will be up in Pequot Lakes, Minnesota, at a client's home, doing some work for a few days with him, and we'll be broadcasting live from there. So be prepared for that. That's coming. And for the next 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Thursday. I might be going home on Thursday. I'm not sure yet. So I'm heading up there tomorrow morning. And also, you are listening to this show on the radio station. That's OdysseyRadio.com. Odyssey spelt a little oddly, ODYSY radio.com, where you can hear this show in its audio format every day and archives the next morning. And also you can see this show in its video simulcast in 2 different places right now. One is over on Facebook, facebook.com/Odyssey Radio. And there is a chat room there, but it's the Facebook, normal Facebook chat. And so you can go over there and chat there, or you can come on over to the YouTube channel. That is my YouTube channel where we broadcast, youtube.com/Mr. Scotty Roberts, or just Scotty Roberts will get you there. youtube.com/Scotty Roberts. And right now, there is a live chat room going. You can go over and join the rest of the Intrepid family over there at the YouTube channel and join in with the conversation that goes on over there. I don't always get a chance to refer to the chat room or answer questions directly in the chat room during the show. Sometimes we do. Sometimes I almost ignore it. But most of the time, it's there, and I see you, and everybody else will take care of you. Master Finn, Matt Finn, is the master and commander in the chat room, my first mate over there. So if you have any questions of the chat room, he usually should be able to tell you something. And Leslie Holker and several other people over there. So welcome, everyone. I'm glad that you're here tonight. Before we really get rolling, well, wait a second. I want to go to Walt Disney World or Disneyland's page. What do you think of all the politics with Disney World and Disneyland going on nowadays with the state of Florida? That's interesting. Only because, now we talked about this a bit on Sunday, and I don't get into politics too deeply during the week on this show, but I will say this. Disney right now is having some problems with the state of Florida because Disney kind of left its lane. Disney is an entertainment company. And because they started trying to influence Florida politics, the political system over there, which they have a right to do if they want to do it, but they just lost their tax status, their self-governance, self-taxing status in Florida. That's an easy way to put it. For 55 years, Disney World in Florida has enjoyed being kind of its own country within Florida. And so now the governor of Florida said, DeSantis said, you want to play politics with us and start buying influence and trying to influence the laws in Florida? You know what? Here's what's going to happen. We're going to pull your plug on your status And now you got to pay taxes just like everybody else. And so that's in a nutshell. So it's very interesting. I still like Disneyland and Disney World. You're never going to not like it. I just don't like it when they get into the politics and they want to start messing with politics down there. Disney World, please. Disneyland, Disney, please stop being so woke and just entertain us. That's all. All right, moving on from that. And I love it, by the way. We were all down there, Paige, last September, our whole family, with my daughters down, my adult daughters down there, and we had a great time. So tonight, before we really get rolling, I want to show you this. Many of you saw the video I put up on my Facebook channel today, my Facebook page. I did a live video over there, and these have come in. Some of these, I'm trying to get it so the reflection is not on it. There you go. That is the new book. That's my new book that I wrote tonight, illustrated. And as you know, this probably makes, I think this makes book number 6 for me. Let's see. I've got The Rollicking Adventures of Tam O'Hare. I've got, which is an illustrated written book, almost like this, just a little different, anthropomorphized. Then I've got The Rise and Fall of the Nephilim, The Secret History of the Reptilians, The Exodus Reality, and now I have this one. So this is my 5th full book, but I also have a couple of books where I've contributed to anthologies and stuff like that. So this is the new book, and we've talked about it for 2-3 months now on this show. I've read this to you on this show in all the build up to this, but here it is, finally, in its full glory. Finally got my shipment of books. There's another shipment coming in next week, but which should be the full order, so we can start fulfilling everybody's orders. But here I got to hold it a little sideways so it doesn't reflect all that light into the camera lens. There you go. Whoosh. So The Sword and the Clay is in. You can see it is a hardcover book, as I've always told you it would be. And there is the spine, and the back cover is there like that. So there is the new book. It looks pretty to hold in your hand, and it's nice. And it's, of course, got its color on the inside. So you've got all the, just like I've shown you online before, here are the illustrations. And my favorite, one of my favorite ones in the book is this spread. So there you go. That's where they're memorializing their brother, Marius Abruzzo. That's the Abruzzo brothers. And of course, you've all seen this before. If you're a regular to this show, and you've seen all the pictures and stuff that goes on here, there's the Roman camp. And it's the story of Will Byrd in World War I, who finds this old sword, a gladius, which looks like that sword on the front cover, in the mud and clay after the bombing of Amiens, France in 1917. And while they found that it was a 2,000-year-old sword that dates back to Caesar's Gallic Wars, they didn't know to whom the sword once belonged. So I created the characters for that, and we juxtaposed the two different time periods, tell some of the ghostly stories that Will Byrd tells in his own memoirs. He's a true guy. He's a real guy that really lived. He wrote 40 books in his life. One of them, one of his first 2 books was his memoirs of World War I, where he tells the story of how his younger brother's ghost comes back and saves his life. That's all in this book. So there you go. That book is in. I had to show it off a little bit so you can see it's nice. It's really nice. When you're an author and you've poured a lot of time and effort into a book, cracking open that box and pulling these out, even though this is it's not a novel, it's not an 80,000 word book, it's a 8,000 word book, 80 pages. And this morning when it came and I cracked it open, there it is, my author's books. And so it's always fun to see it, and hold it in your hand is a great feeling. So there it is, folks. And if you want to get that book, just go over to the official website, which is theswordintheclay.com. Real easy, the title, The Sword in the Clay, theswordintheclay.com. And I thought you were doing that in rhythm to what I was saying. Rainey's over there. Theswordintheclay.com. There you go. And so, well, you might as well say hello now that you're here. Hi, there's Rainey.
Hi.
There's Ellie.
No,
I did say I would read,
but it's too late.
but now it's too late. You guys were all doing other stuff.
Can Mom read?
Whoa! Here, no, I'll read that to you another night. Okay, good night, baby. That's my family stopping in, and the little girl. She wanted me to read this book tonight, but now it's too late. They were all doing other stuff. And so we also have, we printed these up as well. These are the bookmarks that some of you are buying. And yeah, we've got them for sale over on theswordintheclay.com. They're the big oversized ones. It's two-sided. You can see some of the illustrations from the book and different things on there. And it's got this nice, I mean, really nice. I've never felt printing like this before. It's got a velvet finish on it. It actually feels like velvet fabric in your hand. But it's a nice solid bookmark, oversized, as you can see. It's almost as big as my head. That's our new bookmark that goes with or that you can purchase to put into your book. So there it is. The color, the light changes things because the lighting in here is so bad at night. All right, there you go. That's my announcements on the book. If you want to get it, go grab it. I would love to have you avail yourself of that book. Because you know the way publishing works. If I could, I would print these books and I'd send everybody a free book. You got to have this, pay for the postage and I'll send you the book. Or I'd stand on the street corner and I'd give them away. I wrote this. I drew these pictures. You'll enjoy this. That's what the creative person wants to do. But when you want to make a living off of it, you have to do the commercial stuff too. And the sad truth is, if your book doesn't sell, guess how quick the publishing house is going to jump on doing a new book with you? Not so fast. So they want to see the book sell. That's the only way we make more books is they have to cause money to come into the coffers for the publishers and, of course, for myself. Otherwise, I'm just doing it for the love of it for myself. And I'd have to find a way to pay for the books to have them printed. So you get it. It's all a commercial. There's a commercial venture to everything. But commercial ain't all that bad. It's just the way things work. If something is worth something, we gotta buy it. You gotta put a price tag on it and to perpetuate it in the future. So there you go. That's all I got to say about that. Field Guy's here. He said he thought he wrote something once. Grumpy Stack says, which ghost writer wrote under Scotty Roberts' name? That's a good question for the night. If you can label, if you can find the ghost writer that wrote under Scotty Roberts' name, you'll get a prize tonight. Actually, there is one, Grumpy Stack. There is one writer out there who wrote without getting any credit, and it's included in one of my books. And there's no credit given to him. He says, I'm just going to help you. I'm going to write this chapter for you because I was on such a crunch once. If you know who that was, and you can identify which chapter that was, in which book it was, in what year that was, you'll get a prize. All right. It wasn't Will Bird. If it was Will Bird, it would be a divinely dictated book. All right, tonight we're going to get back into talking about the spirit of our house. You know why? The title will drag on for a couple of weeks, but there's so many other topics underneath that main topic that makes it enjoyable and exciting. There's more than one topic underneath the main header, the spirit of your house. And remember, we talked about the I wasn't.
My shoulder hurts and I can't use both hands to get my shirt off.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I was gonna just roll, and my wife managed to distract me. So, and she wasn't even trying. She was laughing with me over there because she saw I just. Okay, so my wife, her studio, as you all know, if you're regular listeners, on the other side of this studio, way over on that side, and so she sits behind her desk. Our desks kind of face each other, with a sofa in between and lots of space in between. And so she's way over there, about 15, 20 feet away. And so she's getting ready to go to bed right now. And she's wearing today a tank top with a hoodie over the top. So while I was talking to you,
I had a t-shirt on between the hoodie and
oh, you had a t-shirt on too. I didn't notice. She's trying to get out of the hoodie and the t-shirt at the same time or something.
I can't. My shoulder's hurting again.
Yeah.
So I can't take.
She's got that
my
shoulder
shirt.
problem.
I can't grab my shirt and pull it up over my head. So my
Right.
arm went up.
She
and
put
then
an
I
arm up.
pulled, so I
Oh,
took
yeah.
it off.
She took she had to put one arm up because she can't do anything with that shoulder. So she puts the arm up and she starts pulling everything up over the top, and she's doing this.
And this is what I'm wearing. Can you see the silhouette?
Yep, there it is. There it is. So she's wearing that, and she's hopping up and down trying to pull the tight hoodie and t-shirt off.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
She didn't mean to interrupt me. So
I'm really starting to. I hurt a lot.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what to do.
I wish I knew what to do. So there you go, folks. In radio land, audio land, you didn't get the benefit of seeing that. But so imagine me sitting here watching Rainey with an arm up, trying to pull her hoodie off, jumping up and down in a tank top. So there you go. It distracted me. I am sorry, but I make no apologies. Sorry, not sorry, as Rainey just said. Field guy said boobs. I knew I heard them. Folks, that's where it all goes. We're all the guys here, especially, we're all like, guys, let's just don't even play coy with it. We all like boobs. Boobs are a thing, and they distract us, and I might as well get it out of the way. And it's like, here, I'm going to stare at those for about 30 seconds so I can get it out, and I don't have to be coy about glancing, and you don't see. I'm just going to look, and there you go. So, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, that's right, Brianna Learman. Boobs. All right. Since boobs are not the topic of the night, but they were a distracting topic, let's get back into where we were. Talking about the house. I don't know where I was. The spirit of the house. The house, as we've repeated a couple of times, your house that you live in, you draw energy to it. There is a spirit of that house. And I believe there is a physical manifested spirit of that house, as well as a spiritual spirit, not to be redundant, if you will, of the house. And that physical comes from the fact that your house is built out of natural things. And even though there's lots of manufactured things, nothing exists in a house that doesn't exist on this planet. And so there's the energy that comes from all those things that were incorporated into making your house. Plus, your house sits on the land, it sits on the earth, and it draws energy from that. Plus, the things we bring to the house are the spirit of the house. And I think that there are things we can do to affect the spirit of our house. Things that we can continually do. As I've mentioned before in this series, when you walk into a house, you can generally tell, is it a happy home? Is it joyful? Is there a spirit of joyful energy in that house? Is there a spirit of drudgery in the house? Is there a spirit of, we're always behind in this house? We're always stressed in this house. We're never getting ahead. Is there a spirit of darkness, of evil, of anti-light that goes on in the house? And we've all been in these situations. Whether you've been into the spiritual side of things on this or not, we've all felt those things, whether we've realized it or not. And there's some houses where you go in and you want to just bask in it, luxuriate in it. and you wouldn't want to leave. And then there are other houses you walk into where you can't get out the front door again soon enough. So we all know what those are like. And so Leslie said my home took on a new energy 18 months ago. Yeah, I get that. And so there are, I want everybody over there that's off camera and off mic to keep it down, please. Thank you. Got to talk to the family in the wings. And so tonight I wanted to look at one of those things that we started talking about last week twice and got sidetracked and never quite got through any of the material. And that's the power of the moon and how to harness the moon and the energy of the moon. Make that work for you. Make it work for your home, for your family. And there are ways to do that. There's that old tradition. I don't even know if you'd call it a tradition as much as the old magic that says that there is power in the moon. And we all know that already. We all know. Look at the tides we have on the planet. And you get the idea of the power, the magnetic power of the moon. Well, that magnetic power also has an effect on people, has an effect on our energy. It has an effect on magic. I told you the little story last week of floating down the Nile River in Egypt and putting all my tarot cards out, laying them out on the deck of the dahabeah in the light of the full moon. Because sometimes placing an object, well, not sometimes, you place an object in the light of the waxing moon just before it waxes its fullest. It will start to draw that energy off the moon, just like your house and people can draw energy off the earth, energy off of things around us. And so it draws that energy. And I got that privilege to lay my cards out there one night. Seriously? Yeah. That child is screaming. Hey, Ellery, I need you to stop screaming back there. Thank you. I don't know if you all heard that. This is called not having a studio that's away from my home or that's not soundproofed from the rest of my home. And a small child or children that forget conveniently when they are mad or angry or whatever that dad's doing radio. So pardon to all of you listening and all of this. So those of you who are regulars, you're used to it. You know my family. You know that's the way it is. My wife distracts me. My children make noise, etc., yada, yada, yada. So, oh, you can't hear her, said Leslie. Oh, so never mind. So anyway, I laid out my cards because they were soaking up that energy. And that's a good energy to have. I wish I could tell you the exact power of it, how it works. I don't know how it works. I just know that the energy is there. We experience it on a scientific level, if you will, on a geological level, and also on a personal level and every other level that exists. So, my children can be distracting too, because no matter how many times you tell the 7-year-old, we talked about this I don't know if you heard that. We talked about this on Sunday morning. Doesn't matter how many times you say the same thing to some of your kids, on and on and on they go without changing anything. What can you do? You can't cut out their tongues. You can't take a limb. You can't break a limb. You could reward them. Hi, I'll give you this cherry if you'll shut up. No, it doesn't work that way. So there you go. So anybody hearing that, I hear it and it distracts me. So sorry about that, folks. One of these days, we'll have a big enclosed studio with glass, soundproof glass, and soundproof walls. Wouldn't that be cool? All right. And that's only after it merits it. Right now, it doesn't. So onward we go, the moon. What about the moon? And, I kind of left off. We kind of hit talking about the moon in kind of moonlight. And I gave you some things, but there's guiding forces with the moon. That the moon, you use the waxing, the growing, and the waning, the diminishing energy, the moon's changing phases. You can set, you can implement, you can evaluate, you can revise, achieve, celebrate, and assess all your intentions in your life and the life of your home and the life of your family. by the phases of the moon. Not solely, it's one of those things that exists to look at energies that you can incorporate into doing these things. To start, you got to cleanse new items, remove any negative energies that they might be carrying with them. That's when we talked about the smudging and using the burning weed to smudge things. The sage, the palo salo, the santo, I think it is. All of these things. Simply place the items you wish to cleanse in the light of the moon. This is something like, if I say I've got a certain tool that I use in my trade, like I did with the tarot cards, I would look for on the calendar and the time of the day that the moon is waxing its fullest before it starts to wane. And in that hour before that, I would lay these things out in the waxing moon and to cleanse the items, to remove negative energies that they might be carrying with them. Before charging and recharging, which is simply resupplying, reamplifying their inherent energies. So simply you place the items you wish to cleanse in the moon's light, outdoors, if safe on a windowsill, receiving the moon's light, or another area open to the moon. I remember doing that on my front porch 20 years ago, putting things out to charge in the light of the moon. And so consider the moon's 8 phases, which span roughly 1 month from the start to the finish. The 8 phases of the moon. Takes about a month to go through a full cycle of the moon. Phase 1 is the new moon. That's the new beginning. The new moon's phase can unlock your intuition. It can encourage you to take stock of what's needed in your life. This is what you do during that period. There's no light of the moon during the new moon. Why? Because the new moon, that's when you go outside and there's no moon at all. That's the new moon when it's at its darkest phase. Second phase is the waxing crescent. That's growing light. This awakens into intentions. The growing energies of the moon's phase at this phase stir activity. It starts to set your intentions and plants the seeds to grow. And so when you see the crescent moon and it's waxing, this is a time to really start awakening your intention of where you want to go, what you want to do, what you want to be, what you want to accomplish, what you want in your home. What's an intention? It just set a simple intention, something as simple as I want there to be something we're going to talk about tomorrow night is music. I want there to be more joyful music in my home. My home lacks music, so I want to do that. So my intention is, and this is nothing like I'm setting, financial goals and things. This is a simple one. I just want more joy, more joyful music in my home. And so you start putting that energy out there. I want that. And this is the phase where you introduce your idea. Now, it's not that you can't introduce a new idea anywhere along the way through any of these phases. It's that you can start it the best at this time to utilize the moon's energy to incorporate into your earth energy, your personal energy, your God energy, your everything energy that you use to start building things. I just see Matt Finn saying that'll get you arrested in public because somebody's making some quip about doing something in the moonlight. I'm sure it must be Grumpy Stack, but I don't know for sure. Over in the chat room. Come and join the chat room and find out what they're all talking about. Phase 3 is the first quarter moon. This is the stronger vibrations. They sharpen intentions, and it sharpens intuition. Use the moon's vibrations to magnify your energies toward reaching your goal, because you've set your intention and your intuition is growing now with the moon growing, and just keep it rolling is what it's saying at this point. Phase 4 is the waxing gibbous, Gibbous, gibbous. That's the increased excitement and energy that spurs action. And in the moon's growing light, you got to evaluate your progress, dispel any shadowy doubt. So now's the time where we say we're not at the full moon yet. We're at that gibbous, that almost full moon. There are nights where you look up and you glance, you go, oh, we got a full moon. Then you go, oh, wait, no, we don't. It's not quite full yet. That's this moon. You're almost there. Then phase 5, of course, is the full moon. And this is celebrate your achievements. Feel gratitude for the abundance that the earth provides for you. Use the power of the full moon to illuminate your achievements and spark celebration. Now, this all sounds like work or a lot of time. It's really not. It's a recognition. And I've just talked really roughly, of about 4 days here where you can go out in the moonlight, and the first 2 weeks of the month of this monthly long cycle, you can go out there and you can express it. You can take 5 minutes. If it's going out to have a smoke, some of you still do that. If it's going out to meditate, whatever it is, go out there and look at that, consider that, and keep reminding yourself of the things, of your intentions. And then you get to phase six, the waning givehouse moon. This is reflect, refine the actions based on the lessons that you learned getting up to the full moon. Draw on this waning phase to help sweep up. It's like sweeping up after the party. The celebration's over. It's back to work, knowing fully that all went well. Phase 7. This is the last third. This is the last third quarter moon. And acknowledge, release, forgive. This phase offers the chance to acknowledge that life isn't perfect. Let go of any negativity that's holding you back. Forgive anyone and everyone you choose, even yourself. Forgive yourself. Sometimes forgiving ourselves is harder than getting the forgiveness of other people. Sometimes there are other people that are never going to forgive you for something you did. And that whatever you may have done can, span the severity of something very simple that somebody was offended by, or something egregious that you committed an act. And you may never get that forgiveness. There's some things you can't fix. But this is where you forgive yourself. This is where you forgive others. Forgiveness is a big deal. We've talked about forgiveness on this show in the past. We may hit that again because we all need it and we all need to give it. If there are those can you think of anybody that comes into this chat room that is a listener to this show that frequents our circle of people that you hold something against? Where is your forgiveness? Are you giving in your forgiveness, or is forgiveness? You got to earn my forgiveness. Forgiveness is supposed to be that thing that we give freely. And it sometimes takes work to forgive. But forgiveness is part of being who you're supposed to be, being a whole person. I believe expressing the best energy that you can have. And so when we forgive, we're giving. I am for giving. I'm giving you something that maybe you don't even deserve, but I'm forgiving you. And that releases us from whatever it is too. So that's that third phase. The phase 8 is the waning crescent of the moon. And the cycle ends. It's you renew, you reflect in quiet darkness. You listen to your heart. You align your priorities. You take a look at the things that need to be your new intentions or reaffirming intentions as you're going to start in the new cycle. And you wipe the slate clean. You release, you remove anything that doesn't fill you with the energy that you need. Doesn't fill you with joy. Doesn't increase your home, your house. Position yourself to begin a new phase with a new goal and a new attitude. And that brings you in full circle to the new moon again. Let me ask you, what kind of house do you have? Do you have a house that is marked by a person or persons who work together to make the spirit of your house a spirit of joy, a spirit of uplifting? When people walk into your house, what do they feel? Do they feel that this is a house of joy? Do they feel this is a house where people are tuned into this? And believe it or not, folks, some people think this stuff is, it's a little sing-song. I listen because I like the show or I like the people in the chat room. And we let some of these things go in one ear and out the other. But keep in mind, this is all how life is supposed to work. You work at making the energy of your home work for you and work for those you invite into it. When people drive up to your house, what's the feeling they get? When they walk in your front door, what feeling do you think they have of your home? Sometimes it doesn't matter if it's messy or clean or whatever. But I will say this. I haven't noticed a lot of homes that are filthy homes. That's different than being messy. A filthy home is generally not a happy home. So I think those things can kind of go hand in hand a little bit. People who work on the energy of their home work on the beauty of their home as well. Doesn't mean you can't keep up with the kids that are messing it for you every day. As I look around and notice they've all gone to bed. Doesn't mean that doesn't happen. Houses get messy. Even joyful homes get messy and can stay messy. And you got to work at making it unmessy. It's like upstairs. Rowan yesterday wanted to earn a couple of bucks. My 10-year-old daughter. Dad, if I clean the whole upstairs, will you pay me? And I said, sure. I said, what do you want to do? And she said, well, I'll do the kitchen and I'll do the living room. And the living room, the kitchen, typical. I talk about this stuff every now and then on Sundays. But yesterday she spent the day picking up, not much of the day, a few hours in the afternoon. She cleaned up the living room, meant she put all the kids' stuff away. All three of those kids leave around. She picked things up. She dusted. She vacuumed. She couldn't vacuum. The band broke. We have to go get a new band for the vacuum. But she did all that. I gave her a few bucks and she was happy. Sucker, look at all my money. And all I had to do was pick up. And it's like, hey, it's what they're supposed to do anyway. But I gave her some incentive when she asked. I'll pay her $10 to clean up my room, says Field Guy. She'd take it. She'd probably clean your room really well. I've seen her do it. She once cleaned the entryway. I looked from the balcony upstairs. It looks down into our entryway. Once after she cleaned it, and I looked and I did a double take. It looked like something out of Architectural Digest. She took a rug that was in the garage, rolled up and put it down in front of the door and moved the plant in the right place. A big planter down there in front of the long, tall window. I forget what they call those. The tall windows next to the door. And she arranged everything and she cleaned it up. She arranged everybody's shoes, hung things up that were laying on the floor. Boom, boom, boom. Energy of your home. That's how that stuff works. And that's how it works the best for you. Now, you also need, this is something, I don't know if you do this or not. This is kind of a prelude to what we're going to talk about tomorrow with music. But do you have an altar in your home? An altar. You go into a church, you know what an altar is. An altar is the front up there where, like in the Baptist church, they have the altar call. After the, just as I am without one plea, they all sing and say, come forward now if you want to accept the Lord Jesus Christ into your heart. And you've got the altar call. The altar is that magical toolkit that isn't necessarily required to live a magical, inspired life, but a few things can inspire your work. It can help improve your focus on energy, your vibrations, to release your intentions into the universe. And though definitely not necessary, an altar provides a visual reminder and a physical space to focus your energy. You can meditate in front of that. You can, and it doesn't mean you're worshiping a false god or a false idol. Oh, my altar to my false god. God will strike me dead. No. This is a place, it's a reminder place. You can put your Christian implements on it. You can put your Jewish implements on it. Your Muslim, Islamic implements, your whatever, your pagan implements. You set up your altar. It's a place to remind you, a physical space to focus your energy, to meditate. Try a spell or two, inside or out. You can do an altar outside. Consider setting up an altar as your place to visualize, set your intentions for the life that you want to live well. You can have more than one altar, each focused on a different purpose. If you want to see altars, tune in to Sarah Soderlund. She's been a guest on this show, a friend of this show. I've been a friend of mine for a dozen years. Go over and check out her stuff on setting up the altar in your home. An altar doesn't have to be fancy. It can be as simple as a windowsill, or a cardboard box. Take a shoebox, tip it on its side, set up an altar in there. I wouldn't light a candle in there. You'll burn the box. But it's as simple as something like that. It can even be a shelf. It can be a dresser top where you display your crystals, your candles, or other reminders of your intentions. So you're aware every day of the work that you're doing to keep your home a thriving place. Do you know where I have behind me? Right back there. This used to be things that I would have on my own personal altar. I had Senenmut back here, this bust from Egypt. Right now, Bigfoot is leaning up against him. But I had things up here, candles and things that I wanted. I've got over here on this other shelf on this side. If you're watching visually, you can see that. And you can see some of the things that I have up there that I've always had up there. If I flip it this way, if you look, if you're watching this thing, not just listening to the audible, you can see things that have always been on my altar in the home. And I have some of the things up here. I have little jars filled with rocks that my older daughters picked up when they were a year old up on Lake Superior. That's way up there on the top shelf, way over on the far end. I've got the Aztec pottery or Mayan pottery from my grandfather's island. I've got all different kinds of things on here that I used. And that's all an altar has to be. It's a reminder of who you are. It's a reminder of where you want to go. It's a reminder of what you want to be. And the intention of your home and of your life. So you can look into that, getting an altar set up. Just a little thing. It could be a little table. We've got a little table up in the entryway up there. Little half-moon shaped table on the little legs. And we put sometimes some stuff on there that represent the altar of our home. Some people would look at that and not even know it has any kind of spiritual implication. So consider an altar by your bed with objects that are devoted to the kinds of dreams you want to have. That's another topic altogether we'll talk about. To your dreams, to relaxation. One in your work area to boost creativity and energy. Or even in your garden to celebrate nature and the charms, the abundance that lends to your world. I could have an altar here. I used to say my whole office used to be my altar because it had all my stuff that would remind me of the intention of what I was doing and how to be creative. So set up and decorate your altar any way you want. You can be as fancy as you want. You can be as creative as you want or as minimalist as you like. As much as possible, keep the elements that make up your altar natural for their innate individual energies, the things that are natural. Right now, sitting here on my desk, this isn't an altar, but I'll show you this. This sits on my desk right now. This is a hammer and pestle right here, the hammer and the pestle. You would use this to grind medications. An apothecary would use it. I've used it to grind pigments and colors for painting. I have the hammer and pestle. I got a picture of my son Flynn. There you go. Boom. That's in there. I've got the Palo Santo, the incense stick. And I got a couple of turquoise rocks that my kids gave me. So you can see those. Those sit in there as well. So and that sits here. That's a reminder to me of things I need to do. I use this to purify the air around me, especially after I fart. Did he actually say that? Yeah. And so this sits on my desk. I'll sometimes put other pictures in here and stuff like that. Right now, Flynn's in there, in that little altar that sits on my desk. I might not call it an altar, but it is, and it's got natural things in it. So that's something that you can do with your own private little altars. You can do that at work. You can, if you're in an office that you can't really promote stuff like that in the, you could bring in a little thing like that and set it up. And that's your little thing. You can have a little sage in there. You can have a little whatever. So even though you can't burn it in the office many times. So your altar represents you, who you are, your home, your heart, your hopes, your dreams, your intentions, your life. And if you stay true to those things, your altar is going to be ready to help you work your magic when called upon. And so it's there. And this is something I'm going to talk tomorrow when we get into this again. We're going to talk about music and the magic of music and how you can use that to blend with your intention. When you walk into a home, I used to leave certain kinds of music just playing on the stereo in the house. So you would walk into my house and you could smell that incense had been burning there earlier, and you can hear certain kinds of music. I used to love the sound of like Lorena McKennett playing in the background. Not blaring, just soft in the background. You walk in, you hear that. Celtic music I would play all the time. And so you would get that going on, and you sense the spirit of the home when you'd walk in. Wow, we are almost at the end of our time. We've got about 5 minutes left. And I did want to hit a couple of other things on the moon, about the moon phases and how to harness the magic of the moon. And it's no secret that witches love the moon. People who work magic on a daily basis work spells and things. Spell doesn't necessarily mean black magic and you're doing evil things or you're calling on evil spirits or the demonic. It's not what a spell is. The spell is working something, an intention that you put together, and you make it work. And you find ways. I did a spell once for prosperity. Remember a few years ago when I went out to Utah for 3 to 5 months to work. And the intent, I didn't want to go. But I put some intent out there. And I did a little spell before I went. And the spell was this. I wanted a prosperity spell, something that would say, this is going to work for us. And I took a big white candle and I carved, and you don't have to be a sculptor, I just carved pictures, stickmen if you need to, of the things that were on my mind. I'd twirl that thing around and I'd carve different things. I want this, I need that, this is what I want for my family. These are the kinds of prosperous things we need. Then I would take and I would wipe it down with a certain kind of oil. You'd anoint it. And I was burning incense the whole time I'm carving it. And then I would take the ash from the incense and rub it into all the crevices that I had carved out, and the oil retains them in. Then you light that candle with your intent in place, and you let it burn, and you watch it burn, and you come back and visit it and revisit your intentions and so on until it burns out. That, folks, is a spell. You're casting a spell, a good spell, a spell that will help you and your family. So things like that. And there's not really much time to get into much of this at all. It was more really, this is more going through all the same phases of the moon and just spelling out a little deeper some of the intentions, but we've already hit them all. And so I don't think it's necessary that we really have to go through any more of this. But one thing about the waning moon that I can say is this, that we didn't get into as much. Write a list of all of your fears, your insecurities. Get rid of it. You could also burn it. You can write them all down, all the things you fear, the things you want to conquer, then you burn that. The things that are your fears, burn them and get rid of them at the waning moon. So there you go, folks. That's all I've got on the moon for tonight, unless I crack open a whole new phase. See what I did there? A whole new phase of the whole moon issue and moon magic. But this is how you instill your home with the intentions that you want, the energy you want, the magic you want, by one tool And this one tool happened to be tonight, the moon. The way you can harness the energy of the moon, use the energy of the moon to get what you want. That's a bad way to put that. That sounds so selfish and so materialistic. Not to get what you want, it's to attract to yourself the energy you want attracted to yourself and your home. And that's a way to do it. So we're gonna end on that note with the magic of your house, the spirit of your house, for tonight. And we've got about a minute left before we're off the air, so I'll just give you one more reminder. Those of you who weren't here, the books have come in. There is The Sword in the Clay, which you've heard so much about for the last couple of months. And so the hardcover has come in, and these are ready. You can go to theswordintheclay.com and order your book and a couple of other things like these wildly gorgeous bookmarks with this velvety finish on them. Get those over there, and you can avail yourself of the book, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate all that you do, and I appreciate everyone who's here. So sit tight. We're going to go out for the end of the show on the radio station, but we will be back here for the Captain's Cabin for a few minutes tonight on the YouTube channel. So you sit tight, and you know what? Live long and prosper.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
All right, folks, we're back. We are off the radio station, Odyssey Radio, and in just a few seconds, I need to disconnect this from their server. That's right now. Bada boom. We are disconnected, and I need to stop the recording for tonight's show for the audio for tomorrow, for the archive over on the radio station. So, folks, I want to thank you all for being here. And we're now in the Captain's Cabin. This is the little afterglow that comes after the show. I'm going to turn my screen so I can reach the backside of my computer easier and unplug that headset because I do not like wearing this. Oh, boom. There we go. So that's done and out. How's everybody tonight? I didn't get much chance to come in and communicate too much. Hey, David Potter, Uncle Dave. Good to see you here. And, of course, Leslie Holker is here, and Gaza is back here. Good to see you, Gaza. Who else did we have in here tonight? Sean Stroik is here. Remeldian, Barbie D. Who else did we have in tonight? Matthew Sainsbury. I see that you're here. And Steve Clark, nice to see you. Glad you came in tonight. And Field Guy. And, excuse me, the list goes on and on. And I know there's lots of listeners that come in, can't always come into the chat room, but they're here. And so welcome to everybody there. And while we're off the radio waves at Odyssey Radio, we're still on here on the YouTube channel and on the Facebook channel. So there we go. That's all I got. You blink and the week is gone. Isn't that the truth, Remeldian? That is the truth. My time goes by a week at a shot, it seems. Sometimes a month at a shot. It just seems right now, when they start going a month at a shot, I'll start worrying. Right now, it's a week at a shot. Literally, it's been that way for a long time. It's like I look up and I go, hey, it was just Monday. I did that tonight, putting up the show for today, the little advertisement, the graphic for the show. And I'm like, I just did Monday. And it's Monday again. So, yeah, boom, cycle. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. So, anyway. David's getting really close to finishing his big mural. He's working on the three-dimensional stuff right now. Very cool stuff. That's a lot of fun. And it's been nice seeing his progress. And what did Leslie Hoker just say? She says, mine too, Scotty. I once asked my mama if time slowed down once the kids were gone and I wasn't running all over the place. And she said, no, it just keeps going faster. And she was right. That's one thing I've noticed. And of course, time is not relative. Time's an absolute, I would say. It ticks by whether you care for it or not, or pay attention or not, or notice it or not. It's our perception. The younger we are, the longer life seems. We're more carefree. And by the time we start getting older, middle age and up especially, you really start noticing time go by. And it just rushes by. What did Solomon say in the Proverbs when talking about time? He talked about how life sprouts up like the grass in the morning and withers in the afternoon sun. That's the way it is. David Potter, you got that right. He said nothing. Where'd it go? There it is. Nothing shows the speed of time like watching children grow. They grow so fast. How many kids do you know that you're close to that you thought the last time you looked at them they were missing a tooth and they were, in second grade or younger and fun, carefree, happy, and now they're 30. You go, what? I get that all the time with my kids. When my daughters, Abby and Bryn, started going out to the Renaissance Festival on their own, when they were in their late teens, they grew up out there. They were 3 and 4 and 5 when I was taking them out there. And I used to have guys who would walk up to me at the festival and say, you didn't tell me those were your daughters, and how did they grow up so fast and so on. And so that's the way it was. They had uncles all over the place out there protecting them. Little kids that I knew now have babies of their own. That's crazy. Isn't that the truth, Dave? That is the truth. And it's even faster with grandchildren than it was with my own children, says Leslie. Yeah, I forgot we put a salt lick out and I found what was left of it. Thought it had a big piece of quartz. I remember you saying that, Elderberry. So yeah, time just goes by fast. I don't even know what I was going to say next. I'm going to just expound more on that. I was thinking of Solomon. I was thinking of Ecclesiastes, where he was talking about remember your Creator in the days of your youth before the evil days come. And he starts giving this metaphoric look at the body before the grinders stop grinding. He's talking about the teeth, before the windows are faded, the eyes, and so on. And he's going through it, all of that stuff. And that's where he surmised and concluded all is vanity. He says, everything we think is worthwhile, he says, has been vanity because it all goes away. It all perishes. It all vanishes. He was pretty cynical when he wrote Ecclesiastes, to be sure. So, time keeps flowing like a river, says Michelle Canham Free, on and on to the sea till it's gone forever. That's the truth. So, not to be maudlin by any means. So we do our best with what we have. What did Gandalf say was it to Pippin? Or was it to Frodo? Something about time. What was it he said? I got to look up the quote. Gandalf. Quote. I'm trying to think of what it even was. Yeah, that's where Frodo said, he says, I wish it need not have happened in my time. said Frodo in response to what was going on around him. And so do I, said Gandalf, and so do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us, he said. Just looking at some of these Gandalf quotes, looking at good reads. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us, he said. He also said, these are quotes of Gandalf. Just as long as we got them, I'm going to read you some of these. I will not say, do not weep, for not all tears are an evil, said Gandalf. I got to pull this out so I can read it better and not have it shine so much light in my face. There we go. Many that live deserve death, said Gandalf, and some that die deserve life. Can you give it to them? Then do not be too eager to deal out death and judgment, he said. He that breaks a thing to find out what it is has left the path of wisdom. I'm looking at more of Gandalf. Good morning, said Bilbo, and he meant it. The sun was shining and the grass was very green, but Gandalf looked at him from under the long bushy eyebrows that stuck out further than the brim of his shady hat. What do you mean? He said. Do you wish me a good morning, or mean that it is a good morning whether I want it or not? Or that you feel good this morning, or that it's a morning to be good on? All of them at once, said Bilbo, and a very fine morning for a pipe of tobacco out of doors into the bargain. Good morning, he said at last. We don't want any adventures here, thank you. You might try over the hill or across the water. By this, he meant that the conversation was at an end. What a lot of things you do use morning for, said Gandalf. Now you mean that you wanted to get rid of me, and that it won't be good till I move off. So the exchange is from the book, if you haven't read Tolkien. Gandalf said, it is not despair, for despair is only for those who see the end beyond all doubt. We do not. For even the very wise cannot see all ends, said Gandalf. You cannot pass, he said. The orcs stood still, and a dead silence fell. I am a servant of the secret fire, wielder of the flame of Anor. You cannot pass. The dark fire will not avail you. Flame of Udun, go back to the shadow. You cannot pass. What a great one. Thou, none shall pass. I had a friend bring that up the other day. When Sam, who you all know, regular listeners of this show, who is now 21, when he was 4, and Dave, you might remember this. Did you ever go to, I think you went to Saukville with us, the Crossroads Rendezvous, Uncle Dave, when we were doing the red-coated, the 42nd Royal Highlanders out by Lake Michigan. And we went to this little rendezvous. And Sam, I brought him along, and he was about 4. And we dress him up in a white puffy-sleeved shirt and roll his sleeves up, and because we were portraying 18th century. And we put him in a kilt, and he'd run around with a big wooden sword. And I remember a couple of the guys, I saw them watching some activity in the field beyond. I walked up, I go, what's going on? They go, look at that, that's Sam out there. And a friend just reminded me of this the other day, looking at a picture of Sam and he said, none shall pass. And he was laughing because he was reciting a time where he remembered with the regiment, Sam is out there in the field at age 4 with a wooden sword, and he's got a bunch of kids in varying ages from probably, I don't think there was anybody anywhere near his age. They were all 3rd, 4th, 5th grade and up. And they're all standing in a circle with their wooden swords. And Sam is going back and forth with his sword from this side of the circle to that side. Ha! Hack, hack, hack. And he's hacking at everybody's swords, and he's in the middle of the circle. And they're all attacking him, and he's attacking back. And he's yelling out, and he's got a sword, and he puts it like this, and he goes, "None shall pass!" He yells at 4 years old. He got that from, of course, the Lord of the Rings movie. So, these quotes of Gandalf's go on. "Well, here at last, dear friends, on the shores of the sea, comes the end of our fellowship in Middle-earth. Go in peace. I will not say, do not weep, for not all tears are an evil," he said. Good stuff. Then, of course, when we started with, "So do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us." Good night. "Fly, you fools!" That's a quote of Gandalf as the Balrog pulls him down to the pit. Bilbo said to Gandalf, "I am old, Gandalf. I don't look it, but I'm beginning to feel it in my heart of hearts. Well preserved indeed. Why, I feel all thin, sort of stretched, if you know what I mean, like butter that's been scraped over too much bread. That can't be right. I need a change or something," he said. "The treacherous are ever distrustful." Another quote of Gandalf. "You will not pass," Roman thundered. Great, now he has decided he was Gandalf. "Fool of a took," he growled. "This is a serious journey, not a hobbit walking party. Throw yourself in next time, and then you will be no further nuisance." That's when they're in the caves of Moira, the mines of Moira. And Pippin knocks over something and knocks it down into the well. And when they're all trying to be quiet to not attract the orcs. Fool of a took. "Courage will now be your best defense against the storm that is at hand. That and such a hope as I bring." Let's see. This is a poem. Tolkien used his books to throw his poems in and his languages and his songs that he would write. And I'm trying to see who sang this. This is Frodo and Gandalf. This is the Lament from the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Rings. It says, "When evening," I don't know what the tune is on this. "When evening in the Shire was gray, his footsteps on the hill were heard. Before the dawn he went away, on a journey long without a word. From wilderland to western shore, from northern waste to southern hill, through dragon lair and hidden door, and darkling woods he walked at will. With dwarf and hobbit, elves and men, with mortal and immortal folk, the bird on bough and beast in den, in their own secret tongues he spoke. A deadly sword, a healing hand, a back that bent beneath its load, a trumpet voice, a burning brand, a weary pilgrim on the road. A lord of wisdom, throned he sat, swift in anger, quick to laugh, an old man in battered hat, who leaned upon a thorny staff. He stood upon the bridge alone, and fire and shadow both defied. His staff was broken on the stone. In Khazad-dûm his wisdom died." "Go back to the abyss, fall into nothingness that awaits you and your master," he yells. Let's see. This is at the Grey Haven's end. No, the journey doesn't end here. Death is just another path. one that we all must take. The gray rain curtain of this world rolls back and all turns to silver glass. And then you'll see it. White shores and beyond a far green country under a swift sunrise. Speaking of the gray havens, or heaven. No, my heart will not despair. Gandalf fell and has returned and is with us. We may stand, if only on one leg, or at least be left still upon our knees. And these go on. There's all kinds of quotes of Gandalf. If you have not read the Tolkien books, you really ought to. I'm just reading quotes from Morgan Snow, reading some of Gandalf's quotes from the books, the Lord of the Rings books. Great Gandalf's ghost. If he had a ghost, I doubt it. He was such a snob. Oh. Let's see, what else have we got? He is not half through yet, and to what he will come in the end, not even Elrond can forfeit. Not to evil, I think. He may become like a glass filled with a clear light for eyes to see that can. What did I tell you, Mr. Pippin? Said Sam, sheathing his sword. Wolves won't get him. That was an eye-opener and no mistake. Nearly singed the hair off my head. Singed the hair off my head. And he smote the Balrog upon the mountainside. Saruman, I said, standing away from him. Only one hand at a time can wield the one, and you know that well, so do not trouble to say we. And then Samwise Gamgee said, Mordor, the one place in Middle-earth we don't want to see any closer, and the one place we're trying to get to. It's just where we can't get. Let's face it, Mr. Frodo, we're lost. I don't think Gandalf meant for us to come this way. Frodo said, he didn't mean for a lot of things to happen, Sam, but they did. And so on and so on and so on. There's lots of good in those stories. I haven't, Scotty, but the quote from Cody's memorial was from J.R.R. Tolkien. You have to share that with us sometime. What that quote was. So, I think I got nothing left for tonight. I was tired before I started, and I'm tireder now. Although my face is not as tired as it was earlier today. But I'm feeling it's creeping up on me. So, that's all I got for tonight, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out for an extra 20 minutes in the captain's cabin tonight. Captain's cabin seems to go so slowly for some reason. It's only 18 minutes. It feels like it's been a lot longer to me. Well, it's been a little longer. We do quit at 4 minutes before the hour, but it's been a couple of minutes longer. Let's see. Yeah, I've had a long, exciting day. Got my first copies of the book in. I'll show you all one more time. For those of you who might have been late comers, the book is in. I got it upside down. There it is. There's the Sword in the Clay, hardcover. You can see the spine there, the square-bound spine, and the back cover of the book. There you go. And it's the picture of me on the Nile River, on a hill above the Nile River in Egypt. Not the Nile in Iowa. And, of course, the book is, you've seen the interior shots of the book over the months. So all the illustrations and so on. It's beautiful. The book turned out absolutely gorgeous. And there it is. And that'll sit in a nice place on your bookshelf. So that's it. If you're expecting it to be longer, remember, this is a shorter book. You can see by that. It's 83 pages total. So there you go. So thanks, everybody. This is just my first shipment came in, which are my books that I pre-ordered, so I could see what they look like, and they're all done. And the big order is coming in next week sometime. So if you've ordered a book already, they're going to be shipping out sometime late next week, I believe. Unless we're surprised and they said this is a week earlier than they said it would get here. So maybe the other order of everybody's books is going to come in too. This one got a little, when I went out and got the box this morning from the publisher, it was cracked open. It's like it had been pushed down on the top and it's split open, and all the books were kind of like this that I got. A little bit warped from the humidity outside. So I'm just going to press these down and try to get that to go away. But for the most part, they're okay. And if that's the worst I got, that's the worst I got. So there it is. And of course, as I showed you earlier, the bookmarks are also in. And there they are. And it's got this velvety, you can almost see it. It's got this velvety finish on it. That's really gorgeous and smooth. And it's these oversized bookmarks we did for the Sword and the Clay. There's the Bird brothers, Will and Stephen Will Bird. So there you go. All right, guys. That's all we got for tonight. I appreciate your time and being here. And we'll see you again tomorrow night. And when we'll all be back. So you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. We got to close her down. So thanks for coming. And we'll see you again tomorrow night. Live long and prosper.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.